I never thought my own sister would be the one to destroy me, but looking back now, maybe I should have seen it coming. Sarah had always been the golden child, the one who got everything she wanted, while I was just there, the invisible sister, the backup plan. But what she did on my 30th birthday, that was the day everything changed. Let me take you back to where it all started. 6 months before that fateful wedding day, I was actually excited. My little sister was getting married. Despite our complicated relationship, despite the years of feeling second best, I genuinely wanted to be happy for her. I remember the day she called me, her voice practically singing through the phone. Emma, oh my God, Emma, you have to hear this. Derek proposed, we're getting married. I could hear the joy in her voice, and for a moment I felt it too. Sarah, that's amazing, congratulations. When's the big day? There was a pause, a brief silence that should have warned me. Well, that's the thing. We found the perfect venue, absolutely perfect, the Rosewood Estate. You know, that gorgeous mansion with the gardens? I know it, I said, smiling. That place is incredible. When did you book it for? Another pause. June 14th. My heart stopped. June 14th, my birthday, my 30th birthday. The milestone I had been talking about for months, the party I had been planning. The celebration I had already sent save-the-date cards for. Sarah, I said slowly, trying to keep my voice steady. That's my birthday. I know, she said quickly, her tone shifting to something defensive. But Emma, this was the only date they had available for the next 2 years. 2 years, we can't wait that long. And besides, you can still celebrate your birthday. We can do something the weekend before or after or whatever. I felt something cold settle in my chest. I've already sent out save the dates for my 30th birthday party. You know how important this is to me. Oh, come on, Emma. Don't be dramatic, it's just a birthday. I'm getting married. This is a once-in-a-lifetime thing, just a birthday. Those words echoed in my head, just a birthday. My 30th birthday, the one I'd been planning for months, the one where I wanted to gather everyone I loved and celebrate entering a new decade of my life. But to her, it was just a birthday. Can't you pick a different date? I asked, my voice small now. Emma, I told you. This is the only date available. Look, you're being selfish. This is my wedding, you're my sister. I need you to be supportive. And there it was, I was being selfish. Not her, the one who deliberately chose my birthday despite having 364 other days to choose from. Me, for having the audacity to want to celebrate my own milestone. I should have fought harder. I should have stood my ground, but I did what I always did with Sarah. I caved. Okay, I whispered. Okay, fine, congratulations. The next few months were torture. I watched as Sarah posted endless updates about her wedding plans on social media. The dress, the flowers, the cake, the venue, and every single post felt like a knife twisting in my gut. My friends started asking about my birthday party, and I had to tell them one by one that it was canceled, that my sister's wedding was more important. Some understood. Others looked at me with pity that made me want to scream. My mother, of course, took Sarah's side. She always did. Emma, honey, you need to be more understanding. Your sister is getting married. This is a big deal for her. It's a big deal for me too, Mom. It's my 30th birthday. You'll have other birthdays, she said dismissively. Sarah's only getting married once. I wanted to say so many things. I wanted to point out that Sarah had made her choice deliberately, that there were other venues, other dates, but I didn't, because deep down I knew it wouldn't matter. Sarah was the favorite. She always had been. The week before the wedding, something changed. I was having lunch with my best friend Marcus when he looked at me across the table and said something that shifted everything. You know she did it on purpose, right? I stopped mid-bite. What, Sarah? She booked her wedding on your birthday on purpose. Emma, come on, you have to see that. No, she said it was the only date available, and you believed her. Marcus leaned forward, his eyes serious. Emma, I called the Rosewood Estate yesterday. Pretended I was looking for a wedding venue. They have dates available throughout the summer. June 21st, June 28th, July dates. She chose your birthday deliberately. The world tilted. Why would you call them? Because I've watched you torture yourself for months over this, because I knew something wasn't right. Emma, your sister wanted your birthday. She wanted the attention. She's always been jealous of you. Jealous of me? I almost laughed. Marcus, Sarah's the golden child. She's the pretty one, the successful one, the one everyone loves. And you're the smart one, the accomplished one, the one who actually worked for everything she has. Emma, you have a PhD in biomedical engineering. You've been working on groundbreaking research. You were just featured in that major scientific journal. Don't you think Sarah noticed? Don't you think she saw that for once? You were getting attention that wasn't about her. His words hit me like a freight train. My article had been published 2 months before Sarah announced her engagement. It had been picked up by several major publications. People were talking about my research. For the first time in my life, I was the one in the spotlight, not Sarah, and then suddenly she was engaged. And the wedding was on my birthday. She's punishing you, Marcus said quietly, for daring to shine. I sat there, my food forgotten as everything clicked into place. Every dismissive comment. Every time she'd made me feel small for caring about my birthday. The way she'd posted about the wedding constantly, tagging me in every single post, making sure I couldn't escape it. It wasn't accidental. It was calculated. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, and something inside me hardened. For 30 years, I had been the good sister, the understanding one, the one who stepped aside so Sarah could have the spotlight. And where had it gotten me? Cancelled birthday plans and a family who thought I was selfish for even caring. I had spent so long being invisible, being second best, being the one who had to understand and compromise and sacrifice. And I was done. I was so done, but I wasn't just angry. I was smart. And I knew exactly how to make my sister regret the day she decided to steal my birthday. 2 things happened in the next week that would change everything. First, I found out I was pregnant. My boyfriend David and I had been trying for a while, but I'd almost given up hope. When I saw those 2 pink lines, I cried. Not just because I was happy, but because I realized the power I now held. Second, I went shopping, and I found the dress. It was white. Absolutely, stunningly, gorgeously white. A floor-length white dress with delicate lace details and a flowing skirt. The kind of dress that would photograph beautifully. The kind of dress that would turn every single head in the room. David was the only one who knew what I was planning. When I showed him the dress, his eyes widened. "Emma, are you sure about this?" "She took my birthday," I said calmly. "She took my celebration. She took the one day that was supposed to be about me, so I'm going to take hers. This is going to cause a massive fight." "Good," I said, and I meant it. "I'm tired of being quiet. I'm tired of being the understanding sister. She wanted to make my birthday about her? Fine, I'll make her wedding about me." The morning of June 14th dawned bright and clear. My birthday, Sarah's wedding day. I woke up early, took a long shower, and began getting ready. I did my makeup carefully, highlighting the natural glow that pregnancy had given me. I styled my hair in soft waves, and then I put on the white dress. David watched me from the doorway, his expression a mix of concern and admiration. "You look beautiful. You also look terrifying." "Good," I said, checking my reflection one final time. Dress was perfect. Not quite a wedding dress, but definitely unmistakably white. "Let's go." The Rosewood estate was everything Sarah had promised. Gardens in full bloom, white chairs set up in perfect rows, flowers everywhere. As we arrived, I could see the wedding party gathering. Sarah looked stunning in her wedding dress, surrounded by bridesmaids in pale pink. My mother was there, fussing over last-minute details. And then she saw me. I watched my mother's face go through a series of emotions. Confusion. Realization, horror. She rushed over to me, her voice a harsh whisper. "Emma, what are you wearing?" "A dress," I said calmly. "It's my birthday, remember? I wanted to wear something special." "You can't wear white to a wedding, you know that." "Oh, I'm sorry, is today a wedding? I thought today was my 30th birthday. You know, the birthday party that was supposed to happen today before Sarah decided to book her wedding on the same date? Emma, please, don't do this. Not today. Not today." I smiled, but it wasn't a kind smile. "When should I do it, Mom? When would it be convenient for you to care about me? Should I schedule it for one of the 364 days that Sarah didn't need?" My mother's face was pale. "If you wear that dress, you'll ruin everything." "Good," I said simply and walked past her toward the ceremony area. I could feel the stares as I took my seat, heard the whispers, saw people doing double takes. David squeezed my hand, his support unwavering. And then Sarah appeared at the end of the aisle, and I saw the exact moment she spotted me. Her face went white, whiter than her dress. For a long, beautiful moment, she just stared at me, her bouquet trembling in her hands. I smiled at her. A small, knowing smile. And then she had to walk down the aisle, her special moment completely overshadowed by her sister in white sitting in the 3rd row. The ceremony was a blur. I barely heard the vows. All I could focus on was the way people kept glancing at me, the way Sarah kept looking over at me during the ceremony, her smile tight and forced. When the officiant pronounced them husband and wife, the applause was scattered, distracted. Everyone was still talking about me. The reception was even better. As guests filtered into the elegant ballroom, the whispers grew louder. I could hear snippets of conversation everywhere I went. "Did you see what the sister is wearing? Who wears white to a wedding?" "I heard they had a falling out. This is so awkward." Sarah tried to avoid me during cocktail hour, but the damage was done. Her perfect day was tainted. Every photo would have me in my white dress in the background. Every conversation was about the drama. Even the photographer seemed flustered, trying to figure out how to take photos without including me while I strategically positioned myself in the main areas. My mother cornered me by the bar. "Are you happy now? Are you proud of yourself?" "Actually, yes," I said, sipping my champagne. Well, it looked like champagne. It was actually sparkling apple cider, but no one needed to know that yet. "I'm having a wonderful birthday." "You're being cruel." "I'm being treated the way I've been treated my whole life." "How does it feel, Mom? How does it feel to watch one daughter overshadow the other?" She didn't have an answer for that. Dinner was served, and I sat at the family table, right next to the head table where Sarah and Derek sat. I could see Sarah whispering furiously to Derek, could see her shooting me looks that would have killed if looks could kill. But I just smiled and ate my salmon and pretended everything was perfectly fine. Then came the toasts. The best man went first, telling funny stories about Derek. One of the bridesmaids went next, gushing about Sarah. And then my father stood up. He was supposed to give the father of the bride speech. But before he could start, I stood up. "Actually, if I could just say something first," I said, my voice clear and carrying across the room. Sarah's eyes widened in panic. "Emma, no. I promise this will be quick," I said, walking toward the head table with my glass raised. All eyes were on me now, exactly where I wanted them. "I just wanted to take a moment to talk about my sister. Sarah and I have always had a complicated relationship. She's always been the golden child, and I've always been, well, not that." Uncomfortable laughter rippled through the room. Sarah was frozen in her seat. Sarah has always known how to take what she wants, how to make sure she's the center of attention. And you know what? Today is a perfect example of that. Because 6 months ago, when Sarah told me she was booking her wedding, do you know what date she chose? I paused, looking directly at Sarah. Her face was pale, her hands gripping Derek's arm. "June 14th. Today, my birthday." I let that sink in. My 30th birthday, specifically. The milestone birthday I'd been planning to celebrate for months. But Sarah found the perfect venue, and they only had today available. At least that's what she told me. The room was dead silent now. I could see people exchanging glances, putting the pieces together. Funny thing, though, when my friend called the Rosewood estate, they had plenty of dates available. June 21st, June 28th, multiple dates throughout the summer. So Sarah didn't choose today because it was the only option. She chose today because she wanted to. Because for once in our lives, I was getting attention for something I'd accomplished, and she couldn't stand it. "Emma, stop," Sarah's voice cracked. "Stop it right now." "But here's the thing," I continued, my voice growing stronger. "I'm done being the sister who steps aside. I'm done being invisible. I'm done letting Sarah take everything from me without saying a word. So yes, I wore white to her wedding, because she stole my birthday and I decided to steal her spotlight right back." The room erupted in whispers. My mother stood up, her face furious, but I wasn't finished. "But I didn't just come here to crash the party in a white dress," I said, and now I let my smile grow wide and genuine. "I came here to share some news. You see, today isn't just my 30th birthday. Today is also the day I found out that I'm going to be a mother. David and I are having a baby." The room exploded. Gasps, applause from some corners, shocked silence from others. David stood up, grinning, putting his arm around me. And Sarah looked like she'd been slapped. "So happy birthday to me," I said, raising my glass. "And congratulations to Sarah and Derek. May your marriage be as unforgettable as your wedding day." I drank my sparkling cider and sat down. The room was in chaos. People were coming up to congratulate me and David. Others were whispering furiously. Sarah had her face in her hands, her shoulders shaking. Derek looked completely lost. And my mother was staring at me like she'd never seen me before. My father approached me slowly, and I braced myself for another lecture. But instead, he sat down next to me and said quietly, "I knew she picked your birthday on purpose." I turned to him, shocked. "What?" I tried to talk her out of it, told her she should pick a different date. "But your mother said I was being ridiculous, that it was just a coincidence." He looked at me, and for the first time in years, I saw real respect in his eyes. "What you just did, that took guts. I'm proud of you." Tears stung my eyes. "Thanks, Dad. Happy birthday, Emma, and congratulations on the baby." The rest of the reception was a disaster for Sarah. No one could talk about anything except my announcement. The white dress had been shocking, but the pregnancy reveal had completely stolen her thunder. Even as she and Derek cut the cake, people were still coming up to congratulate me. Even as they had their first dance, groups of guests were gathered around me, asking about due dates and baby names. Sarah tried to confront me once, grabbing my arm as I walked past. "How could you?" she hissed. "How could you do this to me?" I looked at her, really looked at her, and felt nothing but cold satisfaction. The same way you did it to me, deliberately. It's my wedding day, and it's my birthday. The birthday you stole. So tell me, Sarah, how does it feel? How does it feel to be invisible? How does it feel to watch everyone pay attention to someone else on what's supposed to be your special day? I hate you, she spat. Good, I said. Now you know how I felt for 30 years. She stormed off, and I watched her go without a shred of regret. David came up beside me, pulling me close. You okay? I'm perfect, I said, and I meant it. For the first time in my life, I felt powerful. I felt seen. I felt like I mattered. The aftermath was exactly as dramatic as you'd expect. My mother didn't speak to me for 3 weeks. She sent me long, scathing text messages about how I'd ruined Sarah's wedding, how I was a terrible sister, how I should be ashamed of myself. I blocked her number after the 5th message. Sarah posted a long, victim-playing rant on Facebook about how I'd sabotaged her wedding, painting herself as the innocent party. But the problem with social media is that the truth always comes out. Marcus, bless him, commented on her post with screenshots of his call to the Rosewood estate, showing all the available dates she could have chosen instead of my birthday. Other people started commenting too. Friends who remembered my birthday party saved the dates. Cousins who thought it was weird that Sarah had picked that specific date. Former classmates who remembered how Sarah had always overshadowed me. The post went viral in our social circle, but not in the way Sarah wanted. She ended up deleting it after the comments turned overwhelmingly against her. My father called me a week after the wedding. Your mother wants to talk to you. I don't want to talk to her. Emma, she's your mother. And Sarah's her daughter, but that didn't stop her from letting Sarah steal my birthday. Dad, I love you, but I'm done. I'm done being the understanding one. I'm done apologizing for taking up space. If Mom wants to talk to me, she can start by apologizing. There was a long pause. She's not going to do that. Then I guess we don't have anything to talk about. But the strangest thing happened over the following months. As my pregnancy progressed and I posted updates on social media, old friends started reaching out. People I hadn't talked to in years were commenting, congratulating me, sharing their own stories of sibling rivalry and family favoritism. I realized I wasn't alone. There were hundreds, thousands of people who had been in my position, who had been overshadowed, overlooked, made to feel small, and more than that, my research was gaining traction. The conference I'd been invited to speak at was a huge success. Major universities were interested in my work. I was being offered positions at prestigious institutions. While Sarah was posting honeymoon photos and trying to make her life look perfect, I was actually building something meaningful. The real vindication came 3 months later. Sarah called me, not texted, actually called. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. What do you want, Sarah? She paused, and I heard something I'd never heard from her before, uncertainty. I need to talk to you. So talk. Not on the phone. Can we meet for coffee? Part of me wanted to say no, but a bigger part wanted to see this through. Fine, tomorrow, 2 p.m., the coffee shop on Main Street. When I walked into the coffee shop the next day, 6 months pregnant and glowing, Sarah was already there, and she looked terrible. Her hair was limp, her eyes were puffy, and she had none of the radiant happiness you'd expect from a newlywed. Thanks for meeting me, she said as I sat down. What's going on, Sarah? She twisted her wedding ring around her finger, not meeting my eyes. Derek and I are having problems. Already? You've been married for 3 months. I know. Her voice was small. He's upset about the wedding, about how it went. He said he didn't know I'd deliberately chosen your birthday. He said when he found out I'd lied about the venue only having that one date available, he started wondering what else I'd lied about. I sipped my decaf latte and waited. This wasn't my problem to solve. And then there's the money. The wedding cost so much more than we'd planned. We're in debt now. And Derek's mad because I kept upgrading things without telling him. The flowers, the cake, the photographer. I wanted everything to be perfect, and now we can't even afford our rent. Sarah, why are you telling me this? She finally looked up, and there were tears in her eyes. Because you were right. At the reception, when you said I couldn't stand you getting attention, you were right. When I saw your article in that journal, when I saw everyone talking about how brilliant you were, I was so jealous I couldn't see straight. So you booked your wedding on my birthday. I wanted to punish you, she whispered. I wanted to take something away from you the way it felt like you were taking the spotlight away from me. And then you showed up in that dress and you announced your pregnancy and you ruined everything, and I was so angry. But Emma, you were right to do it. I deserved it. I sat back, stunned. This was not what I'd expected. I've spent the last 3 months thinking about what you said, about how I made you feel invisible, about how I always had to be the center of attention, And I realized you were right about all of it. I've been a terrible sister. I've been selfish and cruel, and I took you for granted because you always let me. So what changed? I asked quietly. Derek. After the wedding, he started asking questions about our relationship, about our family, and he pointed out things I'd never noticed. How Mom always took my side, how I always expected you to accommodate me, how I talked about you like you were an inconvenience instead of my sister. He made me see myself through someone else's eyes, and Emma, I didn't like what I saw. A tear rolled down her cheek. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know you probably don't believe me. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I needed to tell you. You deserved better than how I treated you. You deserved better your whole life. I looked at my sister, really looked at her, and saw something I'd never seen before. Genuine remorse, real understanding. The mask had finally cracked, and underneath it was someone who actually realized what she'd done. I don't forgive you, I said, and she flinched. Not yet. You hurt me, Sarah. You hurt me for years, and what you did with the wedding was just the final straw. But I appreciate you apologizing. That's more than I expected. Is there any chance we could try to fix this? Eventually, I thought about it. About the years of pain and resentment. About being invisible. About the white dress and the pregnancy announcement and the look on her face when I stole her spotlight. And then I thought about the baby growing inside me and the kind of aunt I wanted for my child. Maybe, I said slowly. But it's going to take time, and it's going to require you to actually change, not just say you're sorry. Can you do that? I want to try, she said. I really want to try. Then we'll see. But Sarah, if you ever pull something like that again, if you ever try to make me invisible again, we're done. Completely done. Understand? She nodded, wiping her tears. I understand. And Emma, congratulations on the baby, on your career, on everything. I should have said that a long time ago. I left the coffee shop feeling lighter than I had in months. I didn't know if Sarah and I would ever have a real relationship. I didn't know if she'd actually change or if this was just temporary guilt. But for the first time in our lives, I had made her see me, really see me, and that felt like victory enough. The baby was born in February, a healthy, beautiful girl we named Maya. When I posted her photo online, the congratulations poured in. Friends, colleagues, even distant relatives I hadn't heard from in years. And buried in the comments was one from Sarah. She's beautiful, Emma. You're going to be an amazing mom. I didn't respond immediately. But a week later, I sent her a private message. Do you want to meet her? She came over the next day, bringing a handmade baby blanket. I made it myself, she said shyly. I know I'm not very crafty, but I wanted it to be personal. I watched as she held Maya, cooing softly, her face soft with genuine affection. And I thought about revenge and justice and what it means to be seen. I had worn a white dress to my sister's wedding. I had announced my pregnancy during her reception. I had stolen her spotlight as thoroughly as she'd stolen my birthday, and you know what? I'd do it again. Not because I'm cruel, not because I enjoyed hurting her, but because sometimes the invisible people need to make themselves seen. Sometimes the ones who have been stepped on need to stand up and take their space back. Sometimes revenge isn't about destruction. It's about restoration, restoring your dignity, restoring your sense of self, restoring the balance that was taken from you. Sarah and I are rebuilding our relationship slowly. Some days are good. Some days I look at her and remember my canceled birthday party and feel that old anger flare up. But we're trying, and that's more than we've ever done before. My mother eventually came around, though it took my father sitting her down and explaining, in no uncertain terms, that she'd failed me as a parent. She apologized, sort of. One of those, I'm sorry you felt that way, non-apologies. But she's been a doting grandmother to Maya, and she's made more effort to include me in family decisions. It's not perfect, but it's progress. Derek and Sarah worked through their issues. They're in couples counseling, and from what Sarah tells me, they're doing better. They're more honest with each other now, more real. The perfect image she always tried to project has cracked, and underneath is something more authentic. As for me, my career is thriving. I accepted a position at a top research university. David and I bought a house with a yard for Maya to play in. And every year on June 14th, I celebrate my birthday exactly the way I want to. Last year, we had a huge party. Balloons, cake, all our friends. Sarah came, and she brought me a present and wished me happy birthday without any drama or resentment. But I'll never forget the look on her face when she saw me in that white dress. I'll never forget the moment I stood up at her reception and took back my power. Because that was the moment I stopped being invisible. That was the moment I became the protagonist of my own story instead of a supporting character in hers. People often ask me if I regret what I did. If I feel bad about wearing white to my sister's wedding and announcing my pregnancy during her reception. And my answer is always the same. No, not even a little bit, because here's what I learned. People will take from you whatever you let them take. They'll minimize you, overlook you, use you, and never think twice about it if you don't stand up for yourself. And sometimes, standing up for yourself means being dramatic, means being bold, means wearing a white dress to a wedding and refusing to be invisible anymore. Was it petty? Absolutely. Was it justified? I think so. Did it work? Completely. I don't advocate for revenge in most situations. Usually, the best revenge is living well, being successful, being happy. But sometimes, just sometimes, when someone has deliberately tried to steal your joy and make themselves important at your expense, you have to show them that you matter too, that you won't be erased, that you deserve to be seen, and if you have to wear a white dress to do it, well, make sure it's a really good dress. My sister moved her wedding to my birthday to steal my spotlight, so I showed up in white and announced my pregnancy during the toast. And I'd do it all over again because for the first time in my life, everyone was looking at me. Not the good sister, not the understanding sister, not the invisible sister. Me, Emma, the woman who refused to disappear. That's the lesson I want Maya to learn as she grows up. I want her to know that she matters, that her feelings are valid, that she doesn't have to set herself on fire to keep others warm. And if someone tries to make her invisible, I'll teach her how to wear white to their wedding. Because sometimes, the best revenge isn't living well. Sometimes, the best revenge is making sure everyone knows exactly what happened and refusing to be quiet about it anymore. Happy birthday to me. And congratulations to my sister. May she never forget the day she learned that I won't be invisible anymore.